Michael Pillsbury joins me this evening. Good to see you, Michael.
Good evening, Bianca. You know, they're going to take members of the press on this trip, so this may be the time for you to volunteer. You want to go to Taiwan with the speaker.
I'd love to, actually. I've been to Taiwan, and the people, I can tell you, are warm and beautiful, and it was such a treat for me to go to a place that often we report on, but not many people have been able to have a touch point. You know it very well. Your reaction, you know, if Speaker McCarthy indeed does travel there this year, what's your sense? You know, will it add any fuel to the fire that followed, of course, Nancy Pelosi's trip last year? And if so, is this a good idea for Speaker McCarthy?
Well, it's a good idea in terms of what he will learn about the details that I believe the House Republicans have not been given the full story on China policy. Several House Republicans have complained that there's up to $2 billion in a backlog of arms that Taiwan requested but have not been sent. There's quite a few issues that he can learn a lot about by going there in person. And so I strongly suggest he go. He's got a deep interest in China. I've met with him a few times. He's actually read 100-Year Marathon and can quote from it. So we set up this so-called Select Committee on Strategic Competition with China. I suspect he'll take some of those members with him. It's a bipartisan committee. Jeffries, to my surprise, agreed to put, I think it's going to be as many as 9 House Democrats on the committee. So a trip there can do a great deal of good to sort of unmask or learn more about what the Biden administration China policy has been.
Yeah, get on the ground. And it is recommended reading, the 100-Year Marathon, we should note. Obviously, there is a message this will send to the CCP, to speakers within 1 year. And, you know, I remember when Pelosi announced she was going, many said even if they didn't think it was the timing, once you put it out there, it has to happen. It has to show. They have to show strength. So what do you think in particular this second trip within this time frame, Michael, will signal to Xi Jinping?
Well, it will signal that the House has a bipartisan approach now to the so-called one China policy. This is the biggest issue in U.S.-China relations. It has been since the first Nixon trip in 1972. Taiwan says that it's an independent country. China says, no, Taiwan belongs to us. We've always taken a very vague approach that we acknowledge or we understand that China in Beijing claims Taiwan's part of China. We've never endorsed it. So when a speaker goes, the reason it gets the Chinese so angry, they're saying the speaker is the number 3 in the line of succession. Kevin McCarthy could become president if we lose both Biden and his vice president. So they're worried that this is some kind of a message that Taiwan does not belong to China. Nancy Pelosi got out of it when she was in Taiwan by making a speech saying she recognized the problem. But they're very afraid Kevin McCarthy will not give them as much of a boost and be so pro-China as the Biden administration has been, specifically more recently in the last couple of months.
Great insight. Michael Pillsbury, as always, good to see you, sir. Thank you.